What's up, guys? Captain Trucker here. So thanks for coming back. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And I want to talk a little bit in this about this idea that when you move to the Philippines or want to move here, you will be faced by potential opposition, okay? There will be groups of people that will try to black sheep you. People may have been used to using you as a scapegoat, maybe in your workplace or your social group of friends or something like that. And I also want to talk about this idea of, I guess, just like responsible tourism, and sometimes men come to these countries thinking it's just like a whorehouse where they can have like 5 or 10 girlfriends. And the truth is I'm just joking. That's ridiculous. No, see, that's what I'm saying though, is like people that think that that stuff's okay, they assume that the world is jealous of them because they're operating on this like lower level egotistical type of existence, okay? And while that's true that like some people, for instance, like they might be like kind of jealous of something like that, that doesn't justify like breaking common decency or like immorality or something, or the complications that can cause lives and societies. So I'm not so sure that argument's working anymore for all these like, I don't know, big pimpin' macho men that want to have 10 different women all over the world or something, because I'm not so sure. I'm not sure that people are necessarily jealous of that. And like a lot of the people that kind of dismiss like religion and stuff, they tend to cherry pick like what's good, what's not, as far as like morality, as far as like laws of the land, as far as what's acceptable. And it's more like, oh yeah, let's dismiss religion because all those people were a bunch of hypocrites and stuff. So in other words, listen to me, right? So again, we're going back to these like, there's egomaniacs that have been running this world for years, okay? Whether they were like, you know, either we're losing so much, just so much discernment as far as like basic things of right and wrong, because we have like crazy people telling us the way to run the world or the way to act in societies or the way to travel. But anyway, back to like, if you want to move to the Philippines or move to these countries, yeah, you could be breaking out of like a certain matrix, a certain group. So you could very, very well face opposition, and then you got to be prepared that that's natural, that's normal, and you got to almost expect it. But see, what happens though is like, you know, like in groups where there's people that get abused and people that get oppressed, and you see it like in workplaces, you see it in school growing up, you've even seen it like in some families you've known. You've seen like these black sheeps or scapegoats or something, and then, you know, the powers that be, the status quo, they get used to like kind of keeping that person down, but whether it's justified or not, sometimes it's just convenient, right? Because sometimes people can't really look at themselves. They can't look in the mirror, so they need these little scapegoats, whether it's like on a like an international level, societal level, like, you know, the US, the way they look at poor countries, or like the Philippines or Thailand or African countries, like they have to stay mentally, psychologically in power, they have to look down because that's the only thing they have to stand on. But once they lose control of that, or once they lose control of like a person who they thought was a black sheep and they thought was a scapegoat, when they see them succeed, what happens is they get they lose control. So they either start getting angry, there can be a sense of jealousy, or there can be a sense of resentment, and then, you know, some of them will they'll accept it because they're cool, I guess. I don't know, but it's like, that's kind of what happens. And it's not to say like this whole thing is always like pointing the finger, who's to blame, who's at fault. And that's the part that we're missing. And it's like something I've learned, even like doing this channel, is like a lot of the negative energy we bring on ourselves is because of maybe our judgments and our biases and stuff like that. And we do tend to bring that to ourselves. That whole like, you know, don't judge lest you be judged. Like sometimes people use that Bible verse like, oh, don't judge. But they use it as like they use it as like a cop out of bad behavior. or as a cop-out to sort of commonly excuse bad behavior, but it's kind of like not really the way to probably look at it. But yeah, I mean, you know, we see a lot of this. The world's nuts, dude. I mean, it's like. You gotta watch out. That's the whole thing, man. I'm telling you, like these expats, they get a bad rep. Okay? But let's not be foolish. I mean, some foreigners that come to these countries, they're not like the best people, right? Life has issues. I don't know. I wonder if there's studies on this. But anyway, my point is like, you know, for some of these men that think like they're succeeding by basically coming to these foreign countries and having like 55 girlfriends or something, like that's not succeeding. There's nothing noble about that. That's called problems. So we got to take with a grain of salt some of the stuff we're hearing, and just in general, it's like, yeah, you know, success is this whole thing in the eye of the beholder, right? These things are all relative. I'm having a good time today, by the way, I really am. But listen, don't let them black sheep you, don't let them scapegoat you. The thing is, like we have to pray for those that persecute us. We have to pray for those who hurt us. It's true. Like this whole thing about compassion, the message, and all that stuff is real. Okay. That is our Savior. Is like, you know, the Son of God and stuff. The real. The real. You know, so that's what we need. We need compassion, we need forgiveness, and we need to pray for people that persecute us, all right? Because all those years that those people tried to scapegoat you, or they told you not to come to the Philippines, this could have been systematic. And then when you break out of all that and you finally come here and you start succeeding. You don't want to be angry at those people. You want to pray for them, because they're going to go through one of those processes where they're like, oh my God, we have no one else to blame. What do we do? And so they got to go through that process themselves, and that's a long process. So anyway, it's Captain Trucker. Please subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.